think that I'm a god and will view people as like just kind of things.
So are you, like, as we speak right now, are you feeling like you're a god right now?
Well, if I'm God and I take away your free will and I release your spirit, I take your spirit back.
Dawn in Ohio, August 2023. The Columbus City Police respond to reports of a murder.
He's saying she's dead, right?
All right. Can I kick the door? I'm good.
Kick the door. Police! Yep, she's dead. She's right here. We got her.
29-year-old Shannon Hiott lies dead on the floor of her own front hall. The house is deserted.
Anybody out here? We're down. Columbus Police!
This morning, Columbus police found a woman who was stabbed at a home in southeast Columbus.
This isn't some big whodunit, and it doesn't take the cops long to identify the culprit. But that's where this story takes a chilling turn.
I'm really scared.
What are you afraid of?
Myself.
Okay.
Police were alerted to that home after receiving a call from the suspect.
What were you thinking at that point, like, as far as, because I saw it was pretty gruesome.
It's that age-old question, the reason we keep coming back to cases like these. What makes a killer kill? With never-before-seen interview and body cam footage, join us here on The Decoder as we unpack the tragic death of Shannon Hiott.
Your last words were, I love you.
Berkeley Road is a quiet suburban street in Columbus, Ohio. Shannon Hiott's house there was the same as any other, but early in the morning on August 29th, it would become the scene of a crime.
Is there any history to this address, radio?
Yeah, there's a Sharon that lives there. The male calling in looks like his vehicle or his driver's license comes back to that address. His name is Chance Donohoe.
The first responders are sent there by the dispatcher, who received a disturbing phone call.
We've taken a 911 call here, and we've got a Chance Donohoe on the phone. He says he murdered his girlfriend.
Patty, get me a medic. The 34 and 1411 Berkeley.
Okay, we do have power units, all of them headed over there to the apartment right now.
26-year-old Chance Donohoe is Shannon's boyfriend.
Looks like they're following him. He took off out of the house where he was when they arrived, and they are following him.
He's taken off, and the cops are in pursuit. But the first responders' immediate concern is Shannon.
We got one down on the floor.
Not gonna get the medics there.
Mary.
Here, I got a shotgun, guys.
It's too late for her.
Hang on.
They found her. She's on the floor. They're asking for the medic to come in. He killed her. Oh my God, it makes me sick to my stomach.
She's pronounced dead at 6:18 a.m.
Do we know who she is?
Yeah, he said it was his wife, Sharon.
What was the call? You just called in saying or was this came from Powell?
Because he went up there saying that he killed her and was coming back here and wanted us to kill him.
Chance called the police on himself at around 6 a.m. He's retreated to his mother's place in nearby Powell.
So I'm here at the apartment. We're getting ready to pull mom and a kid out and have them sit in their own car until detectives get here. So we need to get mom and 7-year-old. They can sit in their own car, but we need to get them out of here, out of there.
When they get there at around 6:30, he's not there, but his mother says he's nearby.
Both hands out the window for me. I got both hands. Well, his hands are back in. Put your hands out. Keep them out. Keep your hands out.
They catch up with him at a sheet store close to her apartment.
This is where police arrested that person connected to that Southeast Columbus stabbing.
Chance turns himself in.
Switch cuffs with you.
The police take him into custody.
Right back here? No. What's that? I can't. Your hands? I can't feel this hand. The laceration. I can't really move my fingers and I can't really feel my hand.
His hand is covered in cuts. Even if he hadn't confessed over the phone, this is a sign that he's been involved in some kind of struggle. He's treated in hospital, where they ask him standard questions, including whether he's harmed himself or anyone else. He reacts badly to this.
Just so you know, those questions she was asking you, they ask everybody when they come in here, and they do not know why you're here. Okay. That's why it was so awkward. Sorry about that.
I don't know my shit. I turned myself in. I'm not.
Do what now?
I don't know my shit. I turned myself in.
The police swab him for physical evidence and take photos of his hands.
Why don't you turn this down, face me? That way I can hold
I'll get out of your way.
Hold your hands out and your palms out.
Then they sit him down at the Franklin County Jail for an extensive interview.
I bet you're thirsty. I brought you water.
Thank you.
Your Chance?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Detective Phelan. This is Detective Jude. I shake your hands, but it looks like your hand's injured there.
The investigators start with a friendly approach, trying to put him at ease. They begin with some personal questions, asking about his background.
Are you from the Central Ohio area?
I've been here for about 10 years now.
Okay. Where are you from originally?
Colorado.
Colorado?
Mm-hmm. My family's from here.
I got you.
We just decided to move here because I was getting into a little bit of trouble in my youth.
Okay. How old were you when you moved?
I was like 16.
Chance was born in 1997 in Columbus. His mom was a single mom and very young when she had him. He was in and out of counseling from as young as 5 years old.
What's the highest grade you completed in school?
Some college.
Okay, so 12th grade plus how many years of college?
Most likely a year.
College did not seem to suit him. He job hopped for a while, struggling to settle down. He moved from place to place without finding stability, and he developed a drug habit. By age 21, he was in rehab for methamphetamine use. He was a guy with serious problems. But for a while, things have been looking up. In the summer of 2022, Chance moved in with Shannon. They'd met at a music festival, one of Shannon's favorite places to hang out. Chance had a job as a stagehand there, and they rapidly hit it off. To all outside observers, they seemed like they would be a positive influence on each other. She had stable career prospects, something Chance was sorely lacking. She graduated from Ohio State University in 2017 with a bachelor's degree in psychology, and she recently achieved a fraud investigator certification with Nationwide Insurance Company. Chance and Shannon lived together for nearly a year. It was a relationship that seemed idyllic until it was not. It fell apart in August 2023, and on August 20th, Chance moved back home to be with his mom and half-brother. He was set to start a new job close to home to supplement his work as a stagehand on August 29th, but he'd never show up to work. No, instead, he's in a police station being interviewed for murder. To understand Chance's motivation for the attack on Shannon, the investigators would have to go through the crime right from the beginning. So they started out simply by asking him about it.
And I don't want to assume things, but I'm guessing that you want to talk to us about what happened because you called.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So why don't you just kind of take me through yesterday, leading up to last night and today? Like what happened?
I was basically, I had a major psychological break and kind of completely and utterly lost control of my actions, which I know is not an excuse, and I need to pay for my mistakes and my actions and pay the consequences for everything.
Chance seemed to be blaming the attack on his mental health problems. Whether or not this was true would be determined by the story he told.
I drove home from hanging out with a friend. I was hanging out, I called my friend Wesley. I was just kind of driving around because I just didn't really know what to do.
When was this?
This was at about 11 o'clock.
Last night?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just driving around between 11 and like midnight.
Okay.
And just kind of like strolling around.
And had you met with Wesley?
No. Okay. Wesley, I hadn't seen Wesley since I left the job site.
Do you work together?
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you work?
I'm a stagehand for like festivals.
Sure.
So like we build the stages and stuff.
Yeah.
Or I guess I was, but we work for a wide variety of different companies that subcontract companies that hire people for that.
So you worked yesterday, which was Monday. What time did you start work and what time did you get off?
I started right before 10 o'clock and I got off at around 6:30.
Okay.
And then we hung out at the venue, like job site for a little bit. And then I left to go home.
Where was the job site?
It's that big park that's like, it's the OSU park, the big field. It's right off of like Ackerman.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Like on Berkeley Road?
If you're at Olentangy and Ackerman, it's like right there on that corner of that big open field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of across from the cemetery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right across from the cemetery. Yeah. But I went home and then I was like, had a conversation with my mom and like completely spilled beans about everything that she knew that she had continued to say. And then I just went for a drive to try and clear my head.
At this point, the investigators notice he's still handcuffed and make a further attempt to build trust with him.
I don't mean to interrupt you. Are you handcuffed still?
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to take that off? Would you be more comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. I apologize. I didn't see that when we came in.
Okay.
Then Chance returns to telling his story.
So basically, I was driving around and I thought to myself I should check myself into a mental hospital because I'm not really all that safe. And then on my way home, I had like this weird thing that was just like, well, if you want Shannon back and you can't get her back, you can like take her life force and then you'll be together forever. I went home and I changed my clothes into all black and I grabbed a knife and I went over to her house and I approached the door, which I'm sure you'll see on her doorbell camera, Ring camera, at some point throughout your investigation. I twisted the doorknob. She screamed, "I will call the cops." And I slammed my shoulder into the door 2 times. After the first time she said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Because I think that she thought I was just being obnoxious and pounding on the door or something. Or honestly, I don't even know if she knew it was me until I got into the house. And then the second shove gave way and I didn't make a noise. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. I just started stabbing Shannon. And she didn't even realize what was happening until I had stabbed her a couple times.
Chance makes his attack sound as senseless and random as it appeared. He says it all tonelessly.
I don't know how many times I stabbed her. I know it's a lot. I also know that I cut her throat to speed up the process.
What kind of knife? Do you remember?
You guys should have possession of the murder weapon, but it's just a kitchen knife.
Okay. And where did the knife come from? Your mom's house, or?
Yeah, I grabbed it out of the knife block.
Okay.
And I just remember looking at her and just kind of like feeling like I was like taking on like her spirit, I guess. And like, I don't know, I felt less alone than I'd felt since our breakup in that moment. And then I immediately found out after that she had started sleeping with Matthew. who she had like just recently started being friends with and told me not to worry about again because he's been problematic in her life before.
So you found this out after you killed her?
Yeah.
Chance says he only found out about Shannon's new relationship after he killed her. At that point, he says it was too late for jealousy.
I didn't have a reaction to it, honestly. I was just happy that I had what? I'm just happy, like I'm still happy.
The investigators dig more into these feelings of elation.
You mentioned earlier that if you took her life force, that you would feel closer to her. What does that mean exactly, like as far as?
Well, it's kind of like a Native American belief of like absorbing the soul whenever you kill an animal.
Okay.
And like, I don't know, like you're absorbing it and like, I don't know. I oftentimes whenever I'm experiencing episodes of psychosis, think that I'm a god.
Okay.
And will kind of view people as like just kind of things. I've never been violent to this extreme before.
Are you feeling like you're a god right now?
I mean, yeah.
And we're like objects in front of you?
I mean,
I just want to get your state of mind because, you know, we all have different lenses.
I mean, you're not necessarily objects, you are people of authority, and I am paying the price for like human laws and stuff like that because I am in a human vessel, but like, yeah, like definitely like a god and like can make things happen.
Chance claims he has undiagnosed schizophrenia. This includes apparent delusions of grandeur, which, when combined with his use of methamphetamines, created a disaster waiting to happen, triggered by the stress of the breakup. This is the implication of his story, that he only found out about Shannon's new relationship after his psychological break had begun. But is this true? His mom might be able to provide some answers.
He came home last night around like 10 or 11. You know, obviously there's not a reason to like ever murder someone, but this girl has been like messing with him pretty significantly since they've split up, and they've only been split up for a week, but she was a problem, and I anticipated it getting worse before it got better with her like stalking him and just really, she no longer had control of him, and I think that was making her crazy because she had a lot of control of him before.
According to her, it wasn't just the breakup. Shannon was treating him badly.
He woke me up at like 5 in the morning and said, "Mom, I need to talk to you."
And if you don't want to talk to me, you don't have to.
And we talked, and then that led me to saying, "You need to call 911 and turn yourself in right now." Yeah. And he said he was gonna kill himself and all this stuff, and I said, "You need to just call and do it right now."
But this is his mom. There's no guarantee she's telling the full story. The investigators ask him more about this other man, Matt Kilkoff.
Who's Matt?
Matthew is somebody that she was having some form of romantic relationship with.
Okay. When you say come home, was he living there?
I don't know.
Okay.
He's homeless. So I know that he like was storing a bunch of drugs there because he's a drug dealer and whatever.
Like what kind of drugs?
Ketamine, MDMA, probably cocaine because he's a huge cokehead.
Did you get ketamine from this guy before?
In the past.
Okay.
But like it's been a really long time.
Okay. So you just kind of ran in maybe some of the same circles?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, that's how I met Shannon. It's through like concerts in the music scene.
Well, it makes sense if you work stage and do that stuff that you get to go to all those.
I think he left town to actually go to work, but I don't know because I actually watched him leave.
You watched him leave where?
Their house, or Shannon's house.
When was that? Like in the last week?
No, like yesterday, last night.
Okay, like before you went into the house, or?
Yeah.
Chance says he thought Matt was just couch surfing and staying with Shannon while he tried to find another place to live. But he slips up. He calls her house their house, like maybe he knew Matt was a more permanent fixture in Shannon's life already, even before he descended into that violent rage to kill her. So he'd been at Shannon's house already that night, a little before midnight on August 28th. He'd seen Matt, his romantic rival, leave.
I just drove by because at first, like, all I wanted to do was just, like, knock and talk. But, like, I don't know. I know, like, this doesn't make any logical sense because knocking and getting the police called on you and getting a trespassing charge is far less severe than getting a murder charge. But I just, like, I got to spend time with the vessel that was Shannon, and I got to absorb her spirit.
So when you drove by, you see Matt in the van. Did that make you upset that he was there?
Not really, because I didn't, like I said, I didn't really think anything of it.
Okay.
What made me upset is I don't, honestly, not really upset. Like, just more so like a combination of everything. Like a little bit of upset, a little bit of just like, it's like.
Did you feel betrayed?
In that moment, I mean, like, I felt betrayed the whole breakup.
Sure.
She's been just like telling everybody everything.
This is backed up by neighborhood CCTV.
I don't know if that helps or anything.
It probably does.
He was seen driving past Shannon's house just after 11 p.m. He denies that the killing had anything to do with Matt. But regardless, once he'd driven past Shannon's house and seen Matt leaving, he drove back to his mom's house, a 40-mile round trip, to change his clothes and to fetch a knife. He arrived back at Shannon's to find her alone and vulnerable, and he had a singular purpose in mind.
You put your shoulder into the door, right? That's how, and did the door bust?
Yeah.
Okay.
It popped right open.
So then how far do you come into her house?
I go right over to the couch where she is sitting.
Okay, so she's to your left when you go in the door.
So what I do is I bust in the door and you're right in about like the position. Couch. Yeah. And she screams, "Oh my God, Chance, Chance," and she gets up and she tries.
Did you have a knife in your hand?
Yes.
Okay.
And she tries to, I think, attack me back or run away.
Okay.
And I just start pounding the knife into her.
With chest or bot? Do you remember where?
All of the stab wounds are from probably about here up.
Okay.
On the front and the back.
And when did the knife slip?
The adrenaline was so, I didn't even realize it happened until I originally thought that she dislocated my pinky whenever she was fighting back.
Okay. So she's either running towards you or trying to run past you.
Yeah.
You're kind of a few feet into the house.
I just go straight at her and I don't say anything. I don't scream. I don't yell. I don't make any noise. I just start stabbing.
What were you thinking at that point? Like, as far as, because I saw it was pretty gruesome. Like,
At first, the adrenaline was so overwhelming and euphoric that I didn't really know.
It's clear that Chance hadn't had anything in mind other than murder when he arrived at Shannon's house the second time that night.
Were you hoping Matt would still be there?
No. I was hoping Shannon would be alone.
Okay. So no, he wasn't like an intended target, right?
The sole target of this attack is Shannon and Shannon alone.
Okay. Yeah.
If Matt would have walked in because I did spend about 3 hours there. Afterwards, trying to think of what to do next.
Once the adrenaline had worn off, Chance had to face what he'd done. He was sitting alone in his ex-girlfriend's house with her dead body and her cats, not understanding what had happened to their beloved owner. Eventually, he decided to take some steps to cover up his crime.
I just kind of like, after I killed her, I was like, well, if we're gonna be here, we should just put on some gloves. Because in my head, I was like, I lived here for 1.5 years. If my fingerprints are on the doorknob, that's not necessarily a very strange or out of place thing. Right. I lived here for 1.5 years. If my fingerprints are like here, there, whatever, like that's just kind of to be expected. But I put on the gloves to just kind of make myself feel a little bit more comfortable.
Well, to keep your blood from dripping.
Yeah, that too.
This too is documented on CCTV. The camera on Shannon's porch shows his shadow through the window and one of his hands, which is bloody.
Smoked a couple of cigarettes after disconnecting the Wi-Fi to cut her security system off.
When you came back the second time, did you just park in the driveway or did you park down the street?
I parked down around the corner originally, and then I pulled into the driveway after I killed her.
Okay. So you disable her cameras at this point. You go out and smoke. Had you disabled the cameras before you went out and smoked?
It was after.
Okay.
It was after. I was just kind of sporadically doing things.
Sure.
At the end of the day, I owned that I wasn't going to get away with it. It was just how much time can I give myself to experience freedom before I go to jail for the rest of my life?
And here he is smoking a cigarette outside her house at 2:11 a.m., calm as anything. He used a drill from Shannon's toolbox to screw the front door shut in the hope that no one would come in and find her body.
Okay, so you knew where all her stuff was because you lived together, right?
Yeah, we lived together for 1.5 years. I cleaned everything. I did all the handyman shit. Like, that house was put together basically by me.
So you go out and smoke shortly after she's dead.
Yeah.
Right? You come back in. When do you board up the door?
Probably around 3:30, 4 o'clock.
He abused her body. Then he left her there on the floor of her own house and drove back to his mom's. It was a few hours before sunrise.
I was in control. Like, I made the decisions. I remember making the decisions, but I don't feel like I was in control.
Chance isn't denying what he's done. He killed Shannon, but he's continuing to assert that he wasn't in control at the time. This wasn't his first act of violence.
Had you ever lost control like that in the past?
Yeah.
What happened?
I stabbed my mom's boyfriend because he tried to attack my mom whenever he was in a drunken rage.
What happened to him?
Went to rehab. They got back together for a little bit and then they broke up.
Okay. Is he out of the picture now, though?
No, my little brother's dead.
Okay.
Raised by a single mom, Chance is fiercely protective over her and his brother. So his story seems to suggest.
Did you get in trouble for that?
No, it was ruled out as self-defense because he came into our house.
But that's not really going into a rage. That's protecting your mom, right? It's a little bit different.
It felt very similar.
A son's act of protection feels to him the same as a murder committed supposedly in the middle of a psychological break. And so the more the investigators probe, the more an actual motive begins to emerge.
Okay.
She's been completely and utterly trashing my mom all over the internet and making my mom out to be a laughingstock and saying things like me and my mother's relationship is extremely inappropriate, like implying that, like, we want to have sex with each other and shit. Like, it's fucking disgusting. Are you serious right now?
Did that piss you off?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, what
you have the fucking audacity to like start publicly saying that the reason I date older women is because I have an Oedipus complex. You're only 3 years older than me. It's not like I'm out here dating 40-year-old women. You know what I mean? Dating somebody that's 3 years older than me.
That's perfectly normal.
Yeah. And like...
So she implied that you had some attraction to your mom.
Yeah.
And that's the...
She implied
that was pretty hurtful.
Yeah. She implied that we had an extremely inappropriate relationship, like, and just kept, like, yeah, just saying it in ways that, like, was implying that, like, there was some kind of weird, like, sexual tension and, like, weirdness.
And where did she air this out?
All over Facebook.
Now they're getting into the real heart of this case. Shannon had an active Facebook presence, and she took to her social media in those 9 days after her breakup with Chance to talk about him and to warn other women. She used a Facebook group called Are We Dating the Same Guy, sharing Chance's photo. She said he stole from her and that he comes off super sweet and honest, but isn't. She posted something similar in a group called Ohio Rave Sisters, again warning other women to stay away from him and saying he'd stolen from her to buy drugs. She wrote, "Since making friends aware of why the relationship ended, I found out they've been lying to others and scamming them." Chance had indeed stolen her medications and her money.
She told me that, like, she wasn't going to tell anybody about the theft and stuff because I paid her back the money that I took. And the only reason I took the money is because she took my debit cards because she didn't trust me with finances.
Okay.
And so, like, I'm not trying to sit here and, like, say all of my actions have a rational and logical explanation because, like, I don't want to be this way. I don't want to lie, but I don't know how to stop. I don't want to steal, but I don't know how to fucking stop.
Right.
And now...
Is that in part because of the addiction, do you think, with ketamine?
I mean, the stealing had to do with being... Shannon thought that the stealing had everything to do with the addiction to ketamine, when in reality, I go through bouts of unemployment because of the nature of my work.
Chance had an excuse for this behavior, but it wasn't something Shannon could tolerate in a relationship. She tried to be nice about their breakup, saying she needed to focus on herself, but this only made him angrier.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, there is a part of me that's very upset knowing that they slept together, because the first thing that Shannon said whenever she got out of our relationship was, I need to be single for a while and really figure out my own shit.
Right.
And then I saw something that she wrote down saying, I feel like I'm really falling into the same patterns with Chance with Matt, and I don't know how to feel about it.
Where did she write that down?
It's in her notes on her phone.
Okay. So this isn't something you knew ahead of time, this is something afterwards.
I mean, I assumed.
Sure.
Because...
What's this dude doing at her house anyways, right? You guys
well, like, men and women can be friends, you know what I mean? There can be, like, gender friendships, but, like, at the end of the day, like,
But you suspected something was going on.
Yeah, like, obviously. I saw her dancing with him, like, the day after. Like, we broke up at the concert.
Right.
So, like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, don't play me like a fool, just be real with me.
Well, you're a smart guy. I'm like, that's, you know, that's clear.
I mean, to be completely honest with you, if she would have told me that she was sleeping with somebody else, I probably would have just hated her and been like, fine, f you, enjoy your new boyfriend, whatever. I'm just gonna go fuck bitches, get money.
Right.
Like, whatever. But I thought that she was being single, and I thought that she was, like, working on herself. And then she's making all these nasty posts about me and my mom. And I just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed because these aren't like small things, dude. They're like getting like 40 comments, like dozens and dozens of likes.
I hate social media.
These are like vast reaching posts, you know what I mean? And I'm sitting here like, I'm losing everybody that has ever cared about me to this relationship.
On August 21st, Shannon posted online that she'd tried to talk to Chance's mom about his behavior, but his mom had only mocked her. Shannon and Chance ran in the same social circles. They'd met in the local music scene, and it seemed that most of their friends knew each other. Shannon posting this kind of stuff publicly then was catastrophic for Chance's reputation. Any hopes he'd had of hiding his behavior were swirling down the drain. He was also terrified of losing her for good. She wasn't afraid to cut ties with people if she needed to. She'd already blocked him online.
And like, Shannon also like has a really long track record of getting like higher authoritative figures involved in preventing and being left alone. For example, her ex-boyfriend Cody Costello, she has a stalking protection order against.
If the courts got involved, he thought he'd never see her again. Added to his possessive jealousy over her possible new relationship with Matt, which he had already suspected even if he denied it to the cops at first, and his history with committing stabbings already, Shannon had no idea how much danger she was in.
I mean, to be completely honest with you, gentlemen, I do feel guilt, but it doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Because at the end of the day, I allowed myself to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
I had the conscious thought, check yourself into a mental hospital. But instead of doing that, I grabbed a knife, changed my clothes, and went and killed Shannon.
And you knew that was illegal, right, and wrong before you did it,
Yeah.
right?
I knew it was illegal, but honestly, like, it was just, I knew it was illegal, but I wanted Shannon back.
Whether Chance was hearing voices or not, he'd known right from wrong as he killed her. He'd planned it, driving by her house before going home to change into all black and fetch a weapon. After the murder, he'd made an attempt at covering it up, turning off her security system and putting a pair of gloves on, even if he knew this was useless.
I knew I was not going to get away with it. There's no way I was going to get away with it. First of all, who else is going to kill Shannon? Nobody. Who's the most likely suspect? The person who she just broke up with is having a really nasty breakup with and is currently making all these nasty Facebook posts about, right? So, I mean, that's the first person I would look at.
Throughout the interview, Chance had displayed a strange peace and acceptance of what he's done. He believes in some way that he's taken control of Shannon in killing her. This aligns with his spiritual beliefs. Before they terminate the interview, the investigators ask him one more question.
What's the tattoo stand for?
It's the Ohm symbol. It represents the sound frequency. It's been recorded and picked up throughout the entirety of the known and unexplored universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's often referred to as the God frequency.
He says he believes killing Shannon has given him access to her life force. This counteracted their breakup and made her a part of him forever, so he wants to believe. But in reality, he just cut her life short and she'd be with nobody ever again, including him. Chance seems to realize this, despite his claims to delusions.
We'll never know what she truly felt because her last words were, "I love you." But I don't know if that was out of fear or if she was actually having
trying to get you to stop.
I don't know if it was out of fear of trying, or she was trying to get me to stop, or she just like actually loved me and wanted to say it.
There's no way of knowing if those even were her last words. All they have to go on concerning Shannon's last moments is Chance's story. But as for the rest, there's no denying he'd killed her. Now it's just a matter of due process. Even Chance seems impatient to get it over with. Left alone in the interview room, he mutters to himself,
"Come on, take me to jail already, dude."
In the end, the police do what he wants. They charge him with 2 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of murder, aggravated burglary, and abuse of a corpse. His mother hires a psychologist to analyze him, possibly with a view to an insanity defense. The doctor gives a provisional diagnosis of depression and mood instability, citing his history of substance abuse and lack of medication as possible contributing factors, but not excuses for what he's done. This is no defense. In July 2024, Chance pleads guilty to aggravated murder and abuse of a corpse. His mother and various other family members send the judge letters to ask that he be sentenced with a possibility of parole. They cite his mental health issues, troubled childhood, and drug addiction. Shannon's family, however, also have something to say.
I want to see the full power of the law at work in the form of a full life sentence without parole.
I could talk all day about her accomplishments, how smart, beautiful, and thoughtful she was. What I cannot talk about is how devastating this has been on me and my family.
In the end, on August 9th, 2024, nearly a year to the day after the murder, he's sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 31 years. This is 11 years longer than the minimum term, but not enough for Shannon's family, who miss her every day. What do you think about this tragic story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe, keep up with our channel, and we'll see you very soon on The Decoder.